And now I'll start at Luke chapter 7, or chapter 1, verse 7. And this will be part 2. And let's see, I need this and this, and lights. Okay. Had no child, it was actually children. Either or. Now they are both advanced in years. I'm going to put down 49. And that is because Zacharias is there for his priestly service before wiving. Now, don't need that from his division, but it's that we have here being introduced to Zacharias here and Elizabeth here. But now that we got that Elizabeth was barren, well, that was because our Creator had not gifted her with a child. There's nothing wrong with being barren. It's our Creator's decision. The 49, it's going to come down to that when we start talking about the next verses, that the word 49 is going to be there. You can only be a priest until the age of 50, and then when you turn 50, you're sent out from the house for our Creator. That's the law. That's our Creator's law for those entering into the tent or the house for our Creator, for meeting with our Creator. Now, that's why I use 49, because all this is going to happen here, and then he's going to be sent home. So I'm saying it's this last year that he was there, and I'm going to say she was 40. They were both advanced in years. I'm going to say they were both 49 years old. Okay? And while he was performing his priestly service before wiving. Now, what is that priestly service? Well, according to the law for the high priest, because we have here that we know that he is the high priest at this time. Now, it's very important because when the high priest has a job first thing in the morning. When he entered the house's meeting room for our Creator to burn incense, that's wrong. There's no windows there, so he is to take the golden pitcher that's filled with oil, fill up the lamps, and make sure that the wicks are there, and then he is to light them. And his job at night is to put them out. So he entered, so that's they're talking about the morning, that this is what he's to do the first thing in the morning. Now he's in the meeting room with our Creator. Okay, now they use the word temple. A temple is that is defined in the Hebrew text as a place where they would put a false idol. Our Creator called it a tent for meeting with him when he had Moses built it in the Sinai. So the thing here is it's going to be the house meeting room with our Creator, with our Lord, for the simple fact to light the lamps. He lit all 7 of them. Now this here, they're offering incense. This is just nothing. No, this is just not true. We can remove that. You'll understand that he lights the lamp, so all this doesn't mean anything. So that's the text when it's going to be cleaned up. Now, what is this? Oh, I wanted to put it gray, because I'm adding all these words here. Okay, I guess I see why I didn't do that. Okay, so you can see it right now. Then an angel from, not of, but from our Lord, first person, our Lord, appeared. And he was standing by the table. Okay, it says right of the altar. There is no altar in the meeting room. You have this table that has a bowl of, have the golden bowls of wheat and the golden pitcher of oil for the lamps. Okay, so while he was uh, lighting the lamp, and this would have been that table is made out of gold plated, I guess, around wood, and or yeah, I guess it's called plated. But the object is he's over here lighting the lamps when the angel appears. Okay, so it couldn't have been an altar, and not an altar of incense. That's no. Uh, he was dedicated to our Creator at this time. See, not everyone had this. Not all priests had this uh, meditation practice to have sex with the so-called female goddess. So here he's a good guy, and he's a righteous Israeli, and I just say Israeli meaning he believes uh, our Creator's commands and he follows them, and he is waiting for his promised king to come, the Holy One from our Creator. Now, I added the text for the simple fact is to make sure that everyone starts learning what is in uh, the holy room, because you also have the chest, and inside the chest is supposed to be the two pieces of the 12 commandments that our Creator gave to Moses. And there is the poles that carry this chest. People call them ark. No thanks you. I call it what it is. It's a chest. And these poles are set inside the room here as well. Now, there's also two angels standing facing each other with their arms reaching out over the chest. So that means they're standing on the outside. Now, their wings are 5 cubits, okay, which is about 18 times 5, 80 inches, okay? So anytime you see a picture that doesn't describe as the angels this way to you, then you know that picture is false. And then they are holding what is known as the mercy seat. And above the mercy seat is where our Creator would show himself as a uh, circle of shiny or of bright white light. I say brilliant purity. Um, that's the way our Creator made me see him. So I know that this is how he was appearing to them above the mercy seat and speaking with them. Now, that you aren't going to find in the text, except for that we know that our Creator in John, the next book, says Jesus came from his light. So they knew our Creator is this, shows his appearance as a light, okay, and he speaks from the light. And actually, to me, that I describe what happened to me in the description box below, in that how to visit the abyss. I tell people that this is repeatable, that any righteous man now that's willing to risk his life fighting evil in the abyss, and when they try to kill you, if our Creator feels you are worthy, he will redeem you, and you will be able to say, our Creator made me see him too, because once you see him, you know our Creator exists, okay? Now, I need to have all this here for everybody to understand. Even the table was carried by poles. The angels were carried by poles. The table, the lampstand, everything, all those poles are in there. Now, there's supposed to be also 12 rocks, okay? And I mean good-sized rocks. And that's because when Joshua was crossing the Jordan River into the Promised Land, our Creator told him to take 12 rocks from the river and put them in this holy room as a reminder of that time they came into the Promised Land. Okay, so all these things are in that room that's 20 cubics by 20 cubics. So you must understand, and you must start learning this. So I'm putting this as here. And this is what I want. This is what I want in gray text. Okay, now, and the angel said, do not be afraid, but that's not true. He's going to talk to him about his petition, and that is his. So he was worried about it. Zacharias was worried he had no son to keep the priesthood or priests through Levites through his sons. So he had been petitioning our Creator, and probably Elizabeth as well. Just a second. As Elizabeth as well were petitioning him for a son. So the thing here was, he's being told he has been heard, and he's saying, now Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you will name him John. Not give him a name John. It will give him, you will name him John. Okay. So now we have this text here. I'm going to start only doing things that I think that's important. Otherwise, these videos get extremely long. You can tell what words I'm adding and removing by the colors. But when it gets down to sight, the eyes, this here type of editing, I'm thinking that's not necessary. But when it comes to something like spirit and becoming a breath, yes, these I need to maybe explain from time to time and then go on with the text. So it was his holy breath, because I told you last video, but we need to make sure that since this video, I thought I was going to get them ready too, and I forgot that. There's a few things that I do between videos. Okay, ta-da, found it. This was, I was looking for this in the last video. When I'm explaining that this Bible program that I have here and shows you all these other words, when you click on it, highlight it over here, you can get the Greek or Hebrew word here, and then they tell you how many times. This bracket tells you how many times that the word that they're using there. Well, let me reveal the dirty secret here. That's how bad the text really is. This is Genesis 1:1, verse 7. And when I click on the word which, I got this word, and down here it's used 1,924 times. And these words down here, yes, it all seems reasonably so. But the word why twice, oops, I got to get rid of me here. Twice down here in the corner. These are all that seems to be odd. But when it comes up to powder or deadly or anyone or reason or steward or storehouses, you know that they're just starting to make up whatever they need to create whatever sentence that they want. Because look, here's an example. Here's the word so, and this is the Hebrew word. And yet the word so is used 7 times for this Hebrew word. It's just a corruption that if you think every word in the Bible is true, this should be stunning awakening. Just awaken your butt right up saying, wow, that's how bad the text really is. It gets this bad. I mean, how can these words end up being these other words? I'm sure there's words for storehouse, steward, reason, powder, deadly, and anyone, as much as they are as for each one of these. But that's the text, and that's why I use that Bible program. Now, when I said that Jesus defined, let's see, here is that text. Jesus defines our Creator right here in these 2 verses as it's His breath who's going to speak for you. You can take a screenshot with me, and because it's only these right here that I really want to talk about. And then it's these words here, and then there's these 2 examples, okay, where Zacharias is filled with His holy breath and prophesied. He can't prophesy without our Creator doing this. So our Creator was speaking through Zacharias. He also did it with Elizabeth. Then Jesus says down here, His holy breath or His words will teach you in that very hour what you are to say. So these thoughts that come to your head, those are coming from our Creator to give you the information. So when you think of what is Holy Spirit, you now know that there is no Trinity because it's actually our Creator's breath. And you know that breath has no being, okay? So let me get rid of that. So this is why it's holy breath and not spirit. While to even in his mother's womb, and he will return. I had to add the word many children from Israel. And this is the man Israel, or the male Israel. Man means male or female. That's why I say male. And to their Lord YHVH. See, when you put his name in here and the text comes up, where I would say Lord their God, this becomes more first person when you're reading the text. Now, it says he will go, but they added the word forerunner here. Anything that you're seeing in these fuchsia color type text, this means that they added those into the New American Standard Bible in 1977. So just think of all the extra additions they've done and added all the extra words, and then they'll make these words highlighted that they won't leave them italicized that says that we're adding this word and this word, because what they're going to do is construct whole new sentences over years, and this is what they've been doing for well over 2,500 years. Why I say it happens, been happening that long, is because when I did, our Creator's hidden formats revealed such an order of the kings and the years so exact, it wasn't funny. But the thing here, example, Hebrews write not with numbers. They were writing with words. And what they would do is used two words to say 50 and 2, 30 and 5. This was how they wrote. We use numbers today, but a lot of these that are like this, I only needed to change one number on one side, and that's what was unique out of all these numbers that you're seeing. I think there was only one. I think it was this guy here that had like 10 years one place, 5 years another place, and then 2 years or 3 years, then 2 years. But there are so many different errors. But remember, this column here is the kingdom for Israel, and he sent them into captivity because they started going on to the female goddess. And then when Judah did, you notice how I got kings here that have the first letter. These are good kings. This is a descendant actually from Jehu. He was a good king. He went around killing all them people, those that believed in the female goddess. And over on this side, you can see they're all good kings because I'm using the first letter. But all of a sudden, these kings here are bad. This king here had actually made an idol of the female goddess and started putting it into the house of our creator. He put in horse gods. And that's because once a year, a male's maleness can retract inside his body. Yes, you heard me say that correctly. That's why you search Google for ancient half man, half beast, and you'll see a few of them. I think they got them in the zodiac signs as well. But these guys really started becoming corrupt, except for this guy. He did really good. Actually, there's good stories about each of these kings that I've got in my head that I can tell you from time to time. So here, they're adding all kinds of text into the Bible. That's what it started with. So here, I got him. He will herald, meaning announce, not a forerunner, but he will herald your king, not him, your king, because we don't know who him is. This is prophecy being, this is the angels speaking to him. Let me see this. Okay. And just like Elijah, or I got Isaiah, the spirit and power of Elijah, just like Isaiah, who returned the hearts of many forefathers back to YHVH. Now Elijah, I'm not sure if this is the right guy because there's two of them with Elijah and Elijah here. I don't think he is the one that poured water on the altar after he put his offering on the altar and then asked our Creator to send the fire down from heaven and consume it, and he did. And the king that had his men sent there, he said, okay. But what more was true was more towards the end when the kings were corrupt in this list here. Isaiah starts right around in here. He starts coming, and then Jeremiah is in the last. But he is the one telling the people and bringing the people back to stop doing that because it's going to be the end of the kingdom of Judah. So there would have been him being the announcement at the end. When it comes down to Jeremiah, he speaks of many times that they're onto the female goddess. Let's see if I've got some text here. First of all, it starts out with in Malachi 2:11, where Judah, the kingdom, has married the daughter of a foreign god. And then here Jeremiah is describing the queen of heaven. The queen of heaven, just as ourselves. This is the people coming talking back about our kings, how they did this, and in the cities of Judah, in the streets of Jerusalem. So this is what's talked about. They started making her things, these pillars and altars and stuff all over the city for the female or the Queen of Heaven, which is um, the, the the goddess that they makes these things happen to them when because it's witnessable, repeatable witnessing, and there's many things that happen to the inside of your body. Example, I just got done telling you, a male's maleness retracts inside his body like an animal, sphinx-like. That's what the Sphinx. Why they got a head on that. It wasn't in the beginning, but because that was before the flood. But they built it before the flood. Let's see. This retraction. Oh, I'm trying to think of about the goddess in Revelation, where she's the mother of all harlots. Um, uh, and she's the mysterious mother of Babylon. But remember, our Creator talked to Nebuchadnezzar, and he believed the Creator. He got rid of a lot of things up there, and he set the calendar according to our Creator. So they didn't get rid of this practice up in Babylon, but Babylon was very hard. Actually, Egypt, when it was very large, they had the same practice. So when you see the heads of different animals on male bodies, this is what they're talking about. And if it's a bird, it's going to be like a female. If it's I believe it's going to be a female. But that's all these things are there that you're seeing, but they aren't telling you because they don't want to tell you you must remain single. You have to be a priest or a monk or a holy man, supposedly, to believe that you can't have a wife because you have to have the sex practice of sitting in darkness. I guess that's okay. Here, see, half man, half animal. Well, that's actually something on the Vatican. When you go to the Vatican, you can look up and see those figurines, and you'll see that figurine on the Vatican. So they're well aware of what's going on there. They don't believe in a creator of the universe. Attitude, the mindset. Okay, that's okay. Lord the King. Then Zacharias asked him, how is that going to happen? For I know my wife has passed her years to give birth. Not just past her years, but past her years to give birth. That usually means that a woman stops bearing after 40, but it doesn't say all women stop at 40, but that's the good average line to say no more children. And he told them, I am Gabriel who stands in the presence of YHVH. I have been sent to speak to you to bring you this good news. Now, when you see the text here, you're seeing that I'm leaving it and when an angel is speaking, the angel is in green text. So when you go through my text, you're going to see angels speaking from time to time. And all that text that he's saying will be in green, okay? Now you'll be unable to speak until the day when these things take place. Well, it's actually until he is circumcised, which is even after his birth, okay? Because they didn't name their sons until after circumcision, okay? It's just what you don't know. I need to make sure that this is in here. So you have the correct understanding of when, because the text is going to have it here pretty soon, about when they name him. And then he's going to be able to speak. See, he's unable to speak here, but after his circumcision, when they name him, then he's going to prophesy like I showed you. because you did not believe his words, not my words, because they're our Creator's words. And this is just extra text. And here, no, these people weren't waiting outside no, when he came out, because it would have to, anyways, that's just wrong. Remember, there's a wall around there with a gate. They would have had to be outside the gate. They wouldn't know what's going on. They would not know. He was only going in the morning to light the candle to start what they know that they were to do. The other priests were faking it, but they were still doing it. Still doing what's there to keep their authorship in a place of power over people. Just like today, the Pope, the Roman Catholic Church talks about baptism. Well, baptism isn't true because baptism happened in the day of John, and John was to baptize to forgive sin. So who can forgive sin on earth right now? Nobody. So the baptism is absolutely false teaching. So anybody getting a baptism today are just stupid or don't understand in the head that it is to forgive sin, and nobody can forgive sin. That's how corrupt people are. They're told something and they think they believe it, and they go on and do it, all kinds of things that absolutely make them look stupid to people like me that know what's going on. Here, just going to get into this text here, and I can see that when his days for his priest service ended, okay, he went home and Elizabeth became pregnant. Now, this doesn't mean that they weren't sharing nights together all the time. When you hear about Shiloh, the tent was not in Shiloh. Shiloh was a city where all the priest family would be. They would also have an inn and a market and stuff like that. But the tent for meeting with our Creator would have been down the road, because those that were coming, they needed a place to stay overnight in the market. And even when the priests were done, they went home and they went to Shiloh. So Shiloh is a city, but the tent is outside of Shiloh. Now, when it comes to the time in Jerusalem, you have to understand that the priests would have had their wives living with them, and they would have had probably houses made around there for them. So we know that the high priest had a place that had a courtyard. It was big enough, and he had extra servants to do a lot of things for him. But that would have been the stature or of the way that they would have treated the high priest. But the other priest would have been also living very close by. But she did become pregnant when he went home and kept this to herself for 5 months. But in her thoughts, because they leave the word saying here and then they break the verse. So I had to combine the verses here. No, I didn't. No, I added these two together. And it should be, I should probably add this one here too. But the only thing is that will get done a little later. But the object is, it's their thoughts. She wasn't saying, she was saying them to herself. My Lord has dealt with me in the days when he looked with favor upon me or to me. I shorten this up by saying, my Lord has looked to me and has taken away their, not disgrace, but their degrading, they're degrading by my neighbors. This gossiping women do constantly all the time about having to have a reason or a thought about everything that the neighbors are doing. It's just incredible. But the object is they would be talking behind her back because she has no children, So the thing here is it was this, especially no son, that to pass on the priest, like able to go into and take care of forgiving of sins. The high-statured high priest and his wife have no descendants. But the object is, it's a degrading. It's not a disgrace. It's a degrading. If our Creator doesn't want you to have children, He's not going to give you children, plain and simple. And they're degrading by my neighbors among men. That's not so. It's among man, and it means all of the neighbors, meaning the women would be talking to the men, and the men would be doing this, and she would have these heavy thoughts of this degrading by them, because they do take things personal when you say every word, woman. Sorry, I'm not married, but I know quite a few women. Anyways, and I know hundreds of women, so I can vouch for what I'm saying. You can say it one way, but they take it another way. You just you have to do a lot of explaining and got to learn how to use the right words. Elizabeth was in her 6th month, and Gabriel was sent from YV to a village. I'm calling it not a city, Nazareth, because we're here in Nazareth now. There's saying that the city of Nazareth can't be found in all the archaeologists that they've done, diggings that they've done. So the thing here is if it was a village, they were still living in places that had like houses made out of sticks, and very well built places too. They'd be very sturdy, or kept the tradition, still living in tents. Okay, so when Joseph was the carpenter for their village, he might have been the one to help them make their homes. Okay, as these sticks to be able to be put together correctly. And in Galilee, okay, called Nazareth. Now let me go back to the maps here. I was showing this last time. This here, at Jesus' birth, all these are one. But when I just had text saying it was Judea in the last video, and now they're saying it's all called Galilee. But this is when the Romans came in, let's put it this way, when Herod, who I've renamed Jared, or Garrod, Gerod is what I'll say. The thing here is when he killed the children, okay, that would have been an upheaval that the Romans would have said, no, get under control, get this under, get him out and let's divide it up a little bit more, and so they can keep control over, there's a lot of people down here. So they divided the area up this way. This is not the promised land, but it was part of the land that Moses gave them, and did say it was part of their promised land, because the two sons here never lived over here in the promised land. But Judah, they had named Judea. This was named Galilee. See where Nazareth is at here. There is no structure there, but this other city right here, and I'm pointing to a little one, the text will say 2 miles away from Nazareth. He did raise a boy that had died, and they were carrying him out to be buried. But this is why the word Galilee is changed to Israel and then called Nazareth. Okay. And the pure virgins who had engaged now, when I'm using an S here, the pure virgins who had engaged, because there is no virgin birth. I go through that in a video below, but you have to understand the word engaged at that time meant sharing your love. There are many verses that tell us, example, Jesus, I think, is mentioned 80 times in just the four Gospels as the Son from man or the Son for man, our Son for man. And they also, when he was walking down, our Son from David. If he was virgin birth, it couldn't have been it couldn't have been said that he's a descendant from David. Okay, there are many times that our Creator said that. Example, Nathan told him, David, that through your son's seed will become your son, who I will let have a kingdom in heaven forever, and then you are able to live in heaven. Now that is the reason why we are to go into heaven. All our Creator's everlasting promises. So all his promises, if you have a virgin birth, you're saying our Creator is a liar. Now, especially when I just got done showing you earlier how Jesus defined there is no Trinity. Now, let me see here. What did I want to say here? I was going for something, and I got off track. But pure virgins mean they've never lost their seed, okay? And this is true. This is when there's much to say about a pure virgin who does not lose their seed and then share their love, because that is our Creator's law. That's what was their parents were supposed to talk to their children about sharing their love. And the thing here is, let's say, when in the Hebrew side, when they were made an agreement between who will marry from what family, if the male thought that that the woman wasn't a true virgin because of her monthly cycle, and you only have a monthly cycle because you either masturbated or has shared your love with another male, okay, female and male. And the thing here is that argument that if he didn't marry with her right then and she had her cycle, he could take that woman in front of the men, people, the elders of the group, and reject her, okay? And the way the parents were to have proved that she was, they would bring out her sleeping blanket, and if there's no blood on it, then they know that she was a pure virgin. So you have to have pure virgins under the law of our Creator to fulfill every word that Jesus is to fulfill. Mary and Joseph had to be pure virgins to be able to fulfill this statute or this law from long ago. It wasn't really a statute. It wasn't a law. It was our Creator's words when he said, I created man, male and female. And then he said, Jesus taught that they were to be together and never separated. So that's what's going on here, why these words are here. Who had engaged a male, pure virgins, who had, okay. So what I want to do is get rid of this one. Oh, I see. I divided them up into different sentences here. That's why I'm keeping it that way. A male named Joseph and a descendant from David, and a female named Mary. Okay. Now here they're saying virgins named Mary. Well, David was a virgin as well. So you can't have, we've already got that when I say here. We'll say this here. Okay. Now, here's when it goes to there was no virgin birth. Gabriel coming, he said to them, "Hail, favored ones by our Lord." Now he had to enter their home to say that. If they're in their home, then they are married, male and female. Example, had engaged. He's announcing that she is pregnant to them. They don't know this. But the object is coming, he said, where'd he go to? See, he was sent to a village in Nazareth, called Nazareth, okay, to these two virgins. Now, if they have to be together. So how can they be together? They have to be in their home, okay? So this is one of the verses to say that they were male and female here that had engaged. Because when it comes down to some of this other text, I go over this in a video pretty much to straighten everything out. But I try to mention it as the verses come up in the beginning of these books. So here, they were greatly troubled by his words, not his statement, but his words. And they had this statement by his words as to what kind of greeting this is. And he says, the angel, we know it's Gabriel. Gabriel said, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with YHVH, for you will conceive, and you will bear a son." Now, this should be "you have conceived." This should be have. You have conceived, because right now, they're together. I don't want to make our Creator a liar. And I just remember what I was going to do. Now, those that are Trinitarians, and you want to make our Creator a liar by, he never said that to David through your son's seed. I want to do another one here. This is all the way back to Genesis 17:6, when our Creator is making his everlasting covenant or his everlasting promises, starting with Abraham. He says, "I'll make nations of you, and kings shall come forth from you." Okay? In 18:18, "In him all nations of the earth will be blessed." Okay? Now this goes to Jesus being able to forgive everybody around the world when everybody learns about Jesus and our Creator, because you have to first come to our Creator who created everything, who talks to people, and then they will be blessed. And then down here it says, "In your seed all nations of the earth shall be blessed because you have obeyed my voice." This is Jesus in these verses here, but it's also starting from Abraham's seed, okay? So this was the blessing that was from Shem's time, from Noah's time, that Shem was to have this blessing. And this blessing is that the blessing is a blessed by our Creator through the male lineage starting from Shem, okay? Noah's firstborn son, okay? So when the text later will say something like the sons of we're sons from Abraham. Oh, wait a second, I just noticed I'm at 15 minutes already. That's wrong. You have conceived. I want to change that to here. And then I've got to get out of this really quick. But you make sure you look at follow those videos. I do a real good in-depth explanation. I really made a video, and it took weeks to make those videos, some of those videos. So, but anyway, this is where I'm going to stop right now. I just hope I can download this.